Make money now or download the ARM Stock Trade app on your mobile app store. This is Chef Jeff 3000. Don't touch that dial because you are listening to Ayo and Valentine on the Smooth Breakfast right here on Smooth 98.1. With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture.
New Nigeria-India trade.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1. Business Express on Smooth 98.1. Brought to you by ARM. Local and global market opportunities safely at your fingertips.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. You're most welcome to today's edition of Business Express 981. I have Rotus here. Morning, Rotus. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Ayo. Good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers, listeners, and good morning to our special guest from ARM as well.
Excellent. Our special guest from ARM Securities is Olayemi Olamofe, who is analyst at ARM Securities. Good morning, Olayemi. Good to have you on the show today. Olayemi?
Your mic is
muted.
All right, so good morning, Rotus. Good morning, Hayo. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Wonderful. It's good to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining us. Now, if you'd like to also join the conversation, we welcome you. So please go on to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. We're streaming live on there. You can also send us your message on our WhatsApp platform. WhatsApp is 0809 444 0981. That's 0809 444 0981. Today we're going to be looking at reviewing the capital market with ARM Securities. Rotus.
Thank you. So, Olayemi, we're 3 trading days into the new month. The market was, it was up by what, 0.03%. I think that's essentially flat. How would you describe sentiment on the NGX?
Thus far, sentiment has been positive. Of course, on Thursday, which started the month, we had about 20 gainers as against 15 losers. On Friday, we had about 23 gainers as against 15 losers, and yesterday we had more gainers than losers as well. So, thus far, we've seen positive sentiments in the market. I mean, looking at the market breadth index, it's been positive thus far. As against what we saw at the start of the year, where we saw a number of negative sentiments in the market. Maybe what we have seen that has dragged markets performance has been losses on large cap names, not really on the back of sentiments. Sentiments has been positive since the start of the month.
Is the banking sector still the toasts of the market? I mean, it was up by about, I think it was 63 basis points yesterday, 0.63%. What's your take on banking sector and banking stocks?
So banking stocks, I mean, given the recovery we've seen in yields in the fixed income space. I mean, if you look at last year, we saw yields on fixed income instruments touched very low single-digit levels. And thus far in the year, it's recovered materially, but much more than we expected in the start of the year. It was more of a rapid recovery, and so going to the year, we expect that to be positive for banking names, and so of course that could be one of the points, maybe one of the factors investors may be looking at going forward. But thus far, what we've seen in the market is investors just bargaining on names that have been beaten down in regards to price level, so as to kind of take advantage of price appreciation, and again looking more into fundamentally sound names. So it's more of bargaining on. I wouldn't think it's just tied to banking names alone. I think it's what we've seen across sectors. I mean, consumers, industrials, and the rest. So, but it's just more of bargaining on. We've seen the market as well.
Thanks for that. You mentioned consumers. I think that sector yesterday was down about 0.39% or so. Is that a sector, if you think about the disposable income of the average Nigerian, or you think about consumer goods, is that a sector that is facing any challenges?
Yeah, very well. So I mean, the macro challenges will definitely impact on corporate numbers, and that's one of the reasons you've seen some sort of a sluggish recovery with regards to consumer names. I mean, with regard aside from Nestle, which is a giant in that space, I mean, a number of those players are really come under the weather. I mean, with regards to the challenges in the macro environment. Of course, you mentioned inflationary pressure. Apart from that, insecurity, affecting corporate. I mean, the corporate performance. I mean, if you don't have a safe environment to play in, then it's going to impact on your bottom line. So most of these things has really impacted on sentiments. Investors are not willing to take a long position in these names. What you probably see them do is once they see a reason to actually cash out, they want to cash out and just look at other names as well. So it's more of taking short positions because you cannot really take a long position in a name that there are macro issues that will impact on those numbers. Yes, apart from, like I already mentioned, Nestle. I mean, even with Nestle's results, you probably see a feel as to what the macro environment is saying in their performance as well. So that has been guiding sentiment with regards to consumer names, and not only consumer names, but the overall sector as well. I mean, the overall market as a whole.
It seems like the market is still being driven by domestic investors. Is that a good thing? How do you view that?
So of course, we need much more than domestic players in the markets. If you look at the Nigerian Stock Exchange domestic and foreign participation reports, you will see that net foreign, we up to like H1, we had a net foreign outflow. And that means that we have not seen foreign investors actually take position in the equity space. And not only in the equity, if you look at the FMDQ, if you look at FMDQ as well, you see that we've been seeing more of outflows than we've seen for inflows. So it's unlike last year where we had the low yield environment and we saw a lot of domestic guys rush into the equity space, because of the unattractiveness of youth in domestic space. What we've seen now is a different ballgame. And so we need much more than domestic investors now to push the markets. I mean, in the absence of foreign investors in the markets, you probably wouldn't expect the market to actually experience some sort of a bullish one. You probably expect the market to remain at current levels, to remain volatile, going up and down to the rest of it.
So what's still keeping foreign investors away? Is it the FX situation? Or what would you link it to?
A number of issues. You just mentioned FX. I mean, if you look at what happened last year, the inability to repatriate their fund is one big issue that still lingers on. Investors actually invested in the economy, but because of scarcity of FX, they're not able to cash out their investments from Nigeria. And so going into the year, this sentiment, this continues to impact on sentiment. I mean, investors are still kind of skeptical as to how unorthodox our policies can be, in institutions like this. That's one. Two is, the fear of further devaluation. I mean, you've seen the Naira moved twice last year, and this year it's moved to about 411. I'm kind of converging with the IFX rates. And you cannot really take it off the table that we may see further devaluation.
Right, Olayemi, we're struggling to hear you now. Okay.
Okay, so you can't really take it off the table that you may see another round of devaluation in the year. I mean, look at our trade numbers. We've seen trade deficit numbers. We are not seeing foreign inflows. What we've had to rely on is just crude oil revenue, which is not enough. I mean, to cater for our foreign exchange needs. So a number of investors are kind of skeptical. I mean, you bring your money at a level, at a Naira dollar level, and then maybe you are cashing out at something that's more expensive. That's something that is kind of scary. Apart from that, again, I already mentioned insecurity. It's if you cannot really play. I mean, the environment is not safe. I mean, it kind of threatens corporate existence, and it threatens their bottom line. So that's also one of the things investors are looking at. So a number of issues really accounts for why they are staying on the sidelines. I mean, in regards to playing the equity space and the fixed income space.
So would you say that all those reasons you listed, if I was to ask you what trigger the market needs to see in order to bring volumes back, would it be everything that you just listed that's been keeping foreign investors away?
Yeah, so maybe when you kind of give more clarity in regards to FX policies, maybe when you I mean, to a very large extent, addressing security issues. And again, maybe you make Naira more fairly trade. I mean, you allow for fair valuation of the naira. I mean, that in itself will give comfort to investors. I mean, I understand the fact that there is a COVID situation across every economy, which is impacting on EM markets. But I think it has improved compared to what we have seen last year. We've not really seen that for Nigeria, So maybe when you take away these factors, probably you see Nigeria even out with other emerging markets and start to see some sort of influence, to the economy.
All right. Are there any particular stocks you like? I know you mentioned bargain hunting earlier. Maybe we'll go back to financials and consumers. But any particular names you like?
Okay, so yes, for names like Zenith, I mean, regards to upsides now, of course, there are the number of names that kind of have upsides, but I mean, regards to how much of upsides that they have. I mean, Zenith Bank, Access Bank, UBA, WAPCO, because they've kind of worked on their cost lines, and then regards to efficiency, I mean, the OPEX to sales which will lose better than what it used to look like historically. These names are quite good. And of course, you also will not take away the likes of Dangote Cement. Of course, I wouldn't think that it has so much of an upside. But again, what we should bear in mind is there is the possibility for another share buyback. We saw that last year December. It took prices off the roof. And if it happens again this year, which looks likely, you can see that again also impacts on Dangote Cement's share price, and that again can take it off the roof again. So that's something investors should keenly watch. I mean, the market for.
How convenient is
Rotus, just hold, yeah. Otunuga has a question for Yemi. He says, we observe that the foreign owners of Nestle PLC have consistently been buying the shares of the company on the floor of the exchange for the past 1 year. What does that portend for the future of the company as a listed company?
Yeah, one thing I think it sends a strong message, signal that they believe in the future of the company. At current price level, they feel the company is maybe undervalued, and it's the right time. It's right for them to just pick up the stocks at that level, So it gives more confidence to shareholders that investors, are willing to. These founding members are willing to put in their money where their mouth is. And again, it should be comforting for investors to actually buy stocks like Nestle. I already mentioned that if you look at the consumer names, one of the names you look at as relatively stable. They've been able to weather so many storms. Is Nestle. Historically, regards to dividend payment, they've been quite consistent. Their numbers have not been so bad. And if you really look at what happened last year, it wasn't as bad as COVID came. COVID impacted on other numbers. For Nestle. So that's quite comforting. So for seeing that investors are actually, the fund members are actually buying to those names also should be sort of comfort for investors. They believe so much in the future of the company and strategy.
All right, brilliant. Thanks very much, Yemi.
So that means that a clue then. If they are buying like that, that's a clue for other investors then to possibly jump in.
Yeah, but again, what we would advise is that once you start to buy stock, it goes up the roof. The buying pressure leads the prices up. So you may also want to be careful at your entry. You have to be careful of your entry prices as well. So yes, it's a good name. It's one name that we should. For stability reasons, most of the people that buy into Nestle are people who are not really looking at price appreciation as it were. We're looking for stability. Over the future, over a period of time. Nestle is not a stock that will give you a lot of price appreciation. Like other stocks in the market. But you can be sure that you get your dividend payments, and you can be sure that your stock should be the price should be relatively stable. Over the years, and that's what you've seen played out historically. For Nestle, if you check out the price chart for Nestle, you see that it has not really been that volatile compared to some other names in the market.
All right. Thank you so very much, Olayemi. Thank you, Rotus, as well. It's been the Capital Market Review with ARM Securities, and our guest, Olayemi Olamofe from ARM Securities, analyst at ARM Securities, has been breaking it down for us this morning. We continue tomorrow, same time at 6:30 a.m. for Business Express 981. Rotus will be joining me as well. In the meantime, enjoy some great music. At 7:30, we have Freshly Pressed 981. Thank you very much once more, Olayemi. And thanks to all our listeners for contributing to the conversation today. Enjoy some smooth music at 7:30. Don't forget detailed analysis of today's national news headline stories. Stay tuned.
Express on Small 98.1. Brought to you by ARM. Local Global market opportunities safely at your fingertips.
Meet Josh. Josh
Thank you
is
all for
Mr.
watching.
Convenient, who loves doing everything conveniently, like requesting cab services with a smartphone.